on, guys, and welcome back to our first Q&A from RuneFest. Today we're joined with Mod West. Hello. Mod Sween.
Hello.
Myself, Mod Archie. Mod Ed.
Hello.
And Mod Kieran. Hello. We've also got Mod, oh wow, I've never said your mod name before. Mod Aiza.
Now you're like, how do I say it again?
On the chat.
Mod Aiza Vigiza.
So just to let you guys know, we've been away at a massive meeting with the whole old school team for pretty much the whole day. So coming back, we haven't had plenty of time to gather questions. So we're going to be leaning on the chat for as many questions as we can and hopefully managing to fill the hour today. If not, then we'll just call it quits early and we'll make sure the next one's twice as good, hopefully. Anyways, at RuneScape if you have a question. But first things first, let's recap what's happened today. So Mod Sween put out a news post.
Yes.
And do you want to summarize what that said?
Okay, so over the weekend, after the Deadman finale at RuneFest, it got a bit lively on social media and stuff. Mm-hmm. We were, of course, listening and watching and reading, but keep in mind this, like, for future controversies or whatever, right? We'd been working in the weeks prior to RuneFest, working very hard, getting it ready. Yeah. Then we were working very hard for 2 days over the course of RuneFest. Then the next day is coming back from RuneFest. We're shattered, we haven't seen our families for a while. Some people don't come in on Mondays, you know, take an extra day to chill out. And then on Tuesday, we finally get together and we meet and talk about the Deadman finale. And that's when we can kind of come up with our solution and how we can address it.
Yeah, quite. So it's as you said, I think we all work. It's hard to explain to people who obviously have never worked RuneFest, but it's a busy thing. It takes a lot out of you. But believe me, I had a lot of people tweeting me saying like, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but this happened. Did you see it? I'm like, dude, I have lived that for the last 12 hours. Like, yes, we are well aware.
Whenever we mentioned anything else on Twitter, that was the response. But like, you have to understand, we have to get together as a team before we can really make a decision on what we're going to do after a situation.
Yeah, it's important we don't rush it as well. Like, we can't just go, right, within minutes of the Deadman tournament, and we can't just go, right, now let's decide what to do and put a statement out. We have to properly look at all the evidence and come to a proper decision as a team.
Yeah, so like I said in the news post, everything we do as a team, from hiring, like when we get new mods in, we interview them together, any decision made as a team. So exactly the same again here. But in terms of summarising the news post, as you asked me to do, so essentially what the big things will be the last survivor of the Deadman final hour normal investigations were conducted by Mod West. Looks to be involved in macroing, so banned him, which then leads prize money stuff is we're kind of discussing what to do with that. We posited our suggestions, which would be like maybe dispersing among the finalists, donating to charity, or carrying over to the next tournament. With internal discussions still ongoing. Mm-hmm. What else would be there? Mechanics and stuff. You know, generally we're quite happy with the 4 islands, but we know for a fact that there's improvements to be made, particularly how to get people involved in combat. So we had to make quite a tough decision there. Yeah. If you !review, you can read the news post in full. Yeah. Really.
Actually, yeah, that makes sense. I think we also have !Deadman. Modstone had !dab for Ed, but I asked him to take that one out for you.
Didn't stop them.
Yeah, so I think, you know, with
can we
Deadman...
have the chat a bit bigger? It's quite small at the moment.
Chat for zoom in a bit on the chat, please.
My eyes aren't that good, I'm afraid.
There we go. All right, we've got the dab.
Now what's happened?
Very nice. Good job, chat.
Ed, you need to settle this.
It's already
been going on for weeks.
It's already been settled, mate.
Admirably at your RuneFest presentation.
You were so good, and to celebrate.
It over with, and then it'll go away forever.
I'm fine with it, mate.
You're fine?
I'm fine.
I prefer the chat to be full of feedback.
Yes. So whether or not you're fine with it, that's a different matter. But
you either do it and the chat's filled with haha, or you don't do it and it's still full of haha. So I mean,
the thing is,
it's pretty much whatever happens. It's haha, right?
We know what they're like. Even if I do it, this is a meme now, unfortunately. It's lasted more than a week, and if it's lasted more than a week, it's going to stick around forever. So if I do it, they'll just ask me to do it again. This is a thing now, unfortunately, forever.
Oh, shame. All right.
And you know why? It's because he didn't dab when they asked you to it.
No, so even if I'd done it, they'd still keep asking for it.
So
that's what they're like.
A few things to talk about quick. As I mentioned, we don't have a ton of questions, so don't worry, guys. If it looks like we're not getting through a ton of questions, it's because we don't have a ton of questions. I haven't been hosting the last couple of weeks. I had family over from Canada, and then I was in the Deadman Mansions, and then, RuneFest happened, so I think Mod Stone hosted 3? Or did you do 2?
And I did 1.
You did 1? I absolutely love the idea of other people jumping in to help host these and help gather questions, because
I really enjoyed it when I did the host.
Having hosted more Q&As and asked thousands of questions, I'm so happy to see somebody else jump in once in a while. So hopefully we'll be able to rotate some of your favorite JMods into the seat that I'm in now, and they can help gather questions from you guys and host. By all means. All right, now talking Deadman, sorry, the first time ever trying something. We were ambitious. We decided, you know what, Deadman's actually amazing as it is, but let's see if we can do something crazy that might be a million times better. It might not go as planned. We don't know. It's impossible to test 1,000 people running into an area like that and then splitting them up into 4 quadrants and then, So overall, pleased with the mechanics. Did lead to some lackluster fights with people range prey, range tank, brood down stats, just taking ages. We do have ideas now going forward to help combat that and make the final area more entertaining. But we've said that we do like the idea of the islands. We would like to retain that for the future tournament.
Like, as soon as we announced them, we saw the reaction in the community as well, and everyone involved was really hyped about that idea. And it's the same as anything. It's some of those issues we didn't foresee. I mean, we had only a limited amount of dev time to be working with.
Yeah.
And it takes time to get things right sometimes. Like, look back to our first ever Deadman, right? We progressed the general final hour a significant way forward from what it used to be already, and this is the first time we've ever done the islands, and I think next time, should we do the islands again, we'll be able to make a significant number of improvements.
And so in our kind of retrospective meeting for the final, we agreed that we need to work on the islands, make them better, and then that will then give way to a follow-up meeting in which is more of a game design, what worked, what didn't, what can we change, etc. We do welcome feedback, obviously.
Yeah, as you said earlier, it's not something we decide on the second. Like right after RuneFest, I got home and I actually hopped on some old school because I was really motivated. So I'm doing some Bridding in Edgeville, and I had like a dozen people following me saying, "Give us a statement, tell us something." I'm just, man.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like you say about how motivated you are for old school, regardless of like the Deadman and everything that happened. Was that RuneFest happened, and I think that's the most positive I've ever felt after a reveals talk. I mean. There was so much positivity, and everyone we were talking to at RuneFest, everyone online was just going on about the amazing updates we had announced, especially Dragon Slayer. And so many people telling me like they can't wait to get on old school again, and I haven't played for a while, and this is getting them pumped for the best year of old school ever in 2018.
I mean, even Reddit was positive, so obviously it was successful.
Can't wait.
The reveals and the stuff that we announced. So let's get through that shortly. Again, guys, I do apologize. Today's going to be a bit more of a podcast / summary of RuneFest. We do actually have some nice questions coming in the chat right now, I can see, which we'll get to in a second. But summarizing RuneFest, essentially, who did the first presentation? Was it me and you?
It was me and you.
So the Theater of Blood, very proud there because I fortunately got to try my attempt at designing some stuff. And we know that with Mod Kieran, who's obviously made the Inferno, that's going to be an absolutely phenomenal piece of content, incredibly challenging and whatnot. Going forward, we've seen some stuff from the community to help us. Yeah. We're also looking for 3 new weapons to come from the Theater of Blood. That's the new raids, by the way, raids 2. And yeah, we have some solid ideas coming through. So we'll
we really made a good point of wanting to get your ideas in for the rewards, especially. Because we just need to get them right, really. Make them sure they fit the content.
People have already started posting some on Reddit, I've noticed. Some pretty good ideas started popping up.
Before I came on, I asked if people could tweet me their kind of feedback and suggestions for Dragon Slayer 2 and Theater of Blood. So if you do that during the stream, I'll look at my phone and see if I can share anything as we're going along.
Yeah, definitely.
So when he's looking at his phone, he's not on Tinder, he has actually...
I did see, there is a question I saw in the chat earlier about whether you would require Darkness or Halavale to take on the Theatre of Blood. We're not actually sure yet. It's going to depend on where it fits in the story exactly. There's still details to work out. I mean,
I've got a question here actually asking if peers will be able to take part, and I would like to say yes.
I don't know the requirements of the content to get there.
But yeah, basically they'll need a transport from either Port Phasmatis, however you say it, or I think I wrote it down, didn't I?
You have to go through to actually get into
the Haunted Mines.
Canonfist initially, don't you?
Yeah, because they won't be able to access it otherwise.
Okay, cool. There's Spirit of Blood on the screen. Like, look at that juicy concept art. Big props to the creative team for that. I think that looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
hype as hell.
I love it. Like when we ask for this stuff, sometimes it'll come back and they'll be wielding the bow in the wrong hand. It'll be like, now you got to change that. You don't use that sword for that content. Or,
I mean, technically,
but that one, that's so nice.
Every character in the game holds the bow in the wrong hand.
I do think we will end up.
These are the real issues here.
We will probably end up requiring Doctors of Halaville, given the nature of the idea of you using the boat in Bird of Rot. You use that when you go into Mireditch in the first place.
For the map, I did take into account an ability to go from an alternate route, but obviously,
we had the dock there, didn't we? So even if it requires Darkness of Halaville, you won't have to go through the city every single time. But in all fairness, the castle we put it in, it's right in the south of the city, so you don't actually actually have to do that anyway, even if you did go in that way. So
also, just keep in mind, like one of the hypothetical room mechanics we showed off was essentially like you have to tank the hell out of that room. So one defense pure might struggle a bit. Even if you can access it, like good luck. But then again, with the wiping mechanic, maybe the tactic would be, you know what, let the one defense pure wipe, and then maybe that person's actually useful in another room.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a quick explanation actually, because I did leave a couple things unanswered with that. So essentially, I'll be very quick. Then we'll get into Ed's, which was next. So with Raids 2, it's going to be entirely linear. So we're probably going to look at maybe having 10 to 12 rooms. Now we've got designs for all these rooms already. We didn't want to tell you all of them because that spoils the fun, of course. But we had to give you an example of what we're talking about here. So I gave you one of the more boring rooms, essentially, which has your entire team, let's say 3 to 5, starting off at one end of the room. Again, it's linear, so it's just going to be a nice long narrow path. And there's a troll boss maybe that's carrying a massive key. You have to take down the boss as a team. It's going to be tough, but you'll get there. You pick up the key. It's this massive heavy key, takes up both hands, takes away your shield and your weapon, and it slows you down. So you have to walk slowly to the end of the room, and to obviously open the lock to open the next room. But it's not that easy because there are monsters coming out of the corridors as you're making that trip, and they're all targeting the guy carrying the key. That's where your other teammates have to give you a hand and help defend you. But you'll eventually run out of stamina and swap out with one of those killers. So you'll have to drop the key, somebody else will have to take it. You'll replace him as a killer with your barrage and chins and what have you, and he'll hopefully be able to carry it the duration of the way. Anyways, wiping, how that works is, if you run into that room and let's say 2 of you die, you can't just respawn and suicide run the room. You're going to have to wait. If 2 of you die, you've left your team with 3 people left. You have to sit there at the beginning of the room and do nothing while you just watch and maybe call the shots from there or what have you. It's up to those 3 people that remain alive to either decide whether they want to wipe and die or potentially waste more supplies and see if they can finish the room themselves.
It's at a lot more risk to actually dying than just losing your reward.
And the next room, when you do unlock the next room, those people who had died will respawn in that next room. They're not indefinitely gone. They'll come back. And there's loot after every single room, not just at the end of the raid. There's a few more things to it, but again, the reveals are up on our YouTube channel if you didn't catch them. Let's get into the interesting stuff then. Ed was up next.
Hello.
Talk us through what happened.
Was
he not next?
Ed was last.
Mod
Wolf was next.
Wolf isn't here
this week, so I'll summarise what he was talking about.
Gentle Tractors, but worse.
No.
He's not going to be happy with that.
So, Mod Wolf started by talking about a large farming update. Down to the most basic level, there's a lot of patches that are underused. They could really do with some higher level crops. One in particular being the dragon fruit tree, a new fruit tree above palm. The biggest change, in addition, is probably livestock. Something that's been talked about for years, frankly, with RuneScape, and I think it fits perfectly with the game. And they'll offer something quite different for farming. Like you'll stick your 2 pigs, your 2 cows or whatever, all the way up to like ancient snakelings into your little pen. And you've got to set up the pen correctly for those animals. You've got to consider the weather conditions, that sort of thing, to make sure they stay alive.
And milk them.
And then you can milk them, was the terminology that Mod Wolf decided to use. But so you can harvest the creature, or you can slaughter it for different resources each way. And obviously, harvesting you can do multiple times. I thought that was really interesting. And then we're on about the farming guild. Do you want to take the farming guild?
No. I haven't remembered it.
It was your map.
Oh, I designed the map. Yeah, obviously there was a bit of.
Yeah, let's not forget this guy's actually General Tractor.
I'm not General Tractor. I did speak to General Tractor, and he quite liked the pitch. He said there was some good ideas in there. Obviously, there was a lot of
not as good as his though.
There was a lot of brewing involved with his, which we do want to do, but we feel like it's sort of quite a large.
Brewing's a bit of a
update
separate update, really.
Yeah,
isn't it?
the discussions we had, and what General Tractor himself actually said was that that idea had so much stuff in it. We were never expected to do all of it in one go. It was just see which ideas people like the most.
So yeah, if you weren't aware, we were planning on putting the farming guild in Zaire. We had this idea for about a year plus now, I think.
Yeah.
It's just been sitting around.
We discussed it in the meeting for last year's.
You can
RuneFest
imagine
reveals.
our reaction in the office about 2 weeks before we're about to reveal it at RuneFest, when Gentle Tractor posted that Reddit thread with a mammoth farming update, including livestock and farming guild. We were like, great.
That's the same for so much. What's unfortunate? Sorry, just real quick. What's unfortunate about RuneFest is we have these ideas, we sit on them for like 6 months, and then during that 6 months, they all come up like Rev Caves or like the PvP arena to a certain extent.
Dragon Slayer 2 came up as well.
Yeah,
Dragon Slayer did.
That's been mentioned a lot, yeah.
Oh.
But so, I think you mentioned it before RuneFest, Sween, that like we'll contact Gentle Tractor and see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be
with
nice.
this whole update. So.
We're big fans of the ideas, whether or not we can implement them, because a lot of them go beyond one update, right? But it'd be fantastic to work with a person. With Guy, I'm not sure who they are, but
If you can help guide us in a better direction with what we want to do with the update, that's great for us too.
Sorry,
So
West, I interrupted you. Do you want to carry on?
But I do have a fact. Dragon fruit trees are cactuses.
how about that?
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's a fantastic
Really?
contribution.
Thank
Fruit
you
of
for
several
that,
cactus
Mod West.
species. Well, we're putting in the
That
fruit
is-
patch. We really should be getting.
So are we gonna do
Oh.
Trivia with Mod
okay
West.
daily fruit tree fact until the farming update?
Mod
I
user.
mean, if I can
It's
find
not. It's
it,
not as
but-
good as Daily Beaver Fact.
Oh, it's
so let's be
cacti, not
honest.
cactus.
Yeah,
Come on.
cacti.
Cactus. Anyway, the farming guild itself,
I
just
stand by
before we
my
move
word.
on,
Right.
it's got the difference with this guild. It's got 3 different tiers, so you can access some of the guild at level 60 farming, a little bit more 70 farming, and a little bit more 80 farming. That's got a bunch of different things in there, like extra patches, a growable demi-boss that you can fight for some farming supplies, but you've got to grow it first. Interesting new one, redwood patch. So you go your own little redwood tree.
Yep,
The Gaia patch is a new idea. So imagine there's this one special patch that's like plugged into the rest of the world. What you grow in that patch will affect what happens with all the rest of your crops. Whether it makes them grow faster, whether it makes them less likely to be diseased, maybe you get extra harvest, and you'll have to choose which one of those little modifiers you like, essentially. And I think that basically covers the farming update.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, guys, look at like the woodcutting guild. That being the first guild we've done in some time, and I think we absolutely blew them out of the park. Woodcutting guild was extremely well received.
People really love the woodcutting guild.
So I have high hopes for this. And farming is not my favorite skill, so I'm really hoping to see something a bit more fun here.
As with everything we said at RuneFest, like it's all open to your feedback now that it's out there, and same process as ever. We'll definitely log it when it comes up.
So following farming, we moved into, was it PvP?
PvP stuff.
Okay.
Yep. So you talked us through Bounty Hunter,
Sure.
a way to kind of rework prizes, a way to rework bounties on the Bounty Hunter, like a list of, I don't want to say dailies, but tasks to complete, i.e. using specific weapons and armor sets.
Definitely not dailies.
Yeah, not dailies.
That's scary. So with Bounty Hunter, we want to revitalize the shop a little bit, but we also want to introduce Slayer tasks for players, essentially. So bounties.
It's not linked to the Slayer skill, though.
No, it's not. It's
just
not going to train
similar.
Slayer. But yeah, you speak to the emblem trader, and he will tell you, he'll look at your stats, and he'll say, okay, you've got base 90s stats. You can probably get yourself a set of barrows. Go kill your next target with a set of barrows. The Torags, Daroks, etc. Once you complete a bounty that he assigns you, you go back and talk to him. He says, oh, well done, gives you some points. You eventually start to rank up. After each rank, you get a mysterious loot crate. It's not going to be anything incredible. It's not going to make you a ton of money. It's just going to kind of help you pay the way, especially if you're a newcomer to PKing, which we know so many people are intimidated to get in because they don't want to lose their bank. This will help kind of cut costs a little bit for them. And the nice thing is it'll add a lot of variety into the wilderness. You'll find, you'll walk out into Bounty Hunter and you won't just see people using the same meta all day, every day. You'll see people using different weapons because it's their task. And it'll just help kind of spice up Bounty Hunter.
Yeah. Next up was Rev Caves, Mage Arena 2, and some other assorted wilderness improvements. Quickly run through. Rev Caves very similar to how they were in the original game, but we're not looking at reintroducing the PvP armors and weapons, because even though now there might be some sort of room for them, I'm not convinced in their initial state that's what we want to do. So we don't really have much of an idea in terms of what we want to bring in terms of weaponry, but we've got a meeting next week to kind of for some game design stuff. So again, we welcome your feedback and suggestions. Mage Arena 2, sequel to Mage Arena, looking at introducing a new best in slot mage cape. What was asked for essentially after we failed the pitch for the mage cape coming from the Brimstone Inferno type thing. You guys wanted specific mage content, so Mage Arena 2 it is.
Yeah. We offered originally with the Inferno, like way back when, we said we're going to give you a new best in slot mage, melee, and range.
Back from that was the Brimstone thing, though,
yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
We eventually obviously just settled on the melee, and the mage cape you guys still said you wanted it, but you didn't want it from the Inferno. So here we go with Mage Arena 2.
The suggestion of adding it to Mage Arena 2 is that came up from the community before we even discussed it.
And so Mage Arena 2, I've actually got a question here, just clarifying some stuff. So
you better not be lying.
No, it's the other show. I just saw it.
Mage Arena 2.
That would have been so embarrassing if it was not lying. I'm like checking.
So with Mage Arena 2, you're going to have 3 bosses roaming around the wilderness. They're going to be actually moving around locations and changing up as they go. You won't be able to camp them. A team won't be able to hold them down and say, this is mine, you can't attack this boss. So you're going to have to run around and find all 3 after killing all 3, which they're using, like the Zemi Flames, etc. You'll be able to acquire a cape. And you'll have to do this every single time you want the cape. You can't just sit there and stack up 20 of them. So, yeah, very well earned cape, I suppose. A very strong cape, about twice the stats of the current best in slot mage cape. But you know, it's the first cape, first mage mage cape thing that's that good in what, over a decade? So
yeah, so it was what I had a look. It was the 22nd of September 2004. 2004, something like that.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
so people saying OP, guys, like you haven't had anything other than this cape for over a decade.
And the current cape you get without 1 minute's worth of effort, it
costs nothing and it's free. Yeah, it's. Yeah,
Magic accuracy really doesn't do too much either, to be honest.
There's also a really sweet design someone posted a few years ago on Reddit, which was like a stars floating around. That would be quite cool.
Sweet. I'm conscious that it was like 22 minutes in and we haven't answered questions yet. So last but not least, and first of all, huge props to Ed for how good was he in the Dragon Slayer 2 reveals. He was so good. So
get the clappers in the chat.
Ed is so quiet, and then he walked onto the stage, and he was just like the best presenter on the stage easily. See
what Ed's been doing. I've sat quiet for a year on the Q&A. It's building up the energy for that one reveal. And now we started for next year already.
What you don't actually realise is it's all about the build-up. That is absolutely everything. So you've got to have just a whole year's build-up to reveals and.
1 year's build up, and then for that ultimate Dragon Slayer 2 climax.
Yeah.
Maybe they liked it.
You want to give
anyway.
You want to give a quick rundown of Dragon Slayer 2 then?
Yeah. Well, I guess the best thing to do really, is rather than give a rundown, is go to the blog, because we did put the blog up straight away. Pretty much as soon as I finished my announcement, we hit go on the blog, and that went up on the website. We've made a few tweaks since then based on feedback. We've been looking at Reddit and Twitter and whatnot as always, and there's been some tweaks made.
And our forums.
Exclamation point.
Yes, we do check the forums. Problem is there's no one there, so there's like one person. So
exclamation mark DS2. It's in the title, I believe, guys.
We're not
You should be able to find the blog.
But yeah, we had a look at the feedback, and yeah, it was on the whole really positive. People seem to really like the idea. They're really excited about getting a new quest, which is really awesome to see. That's what we were hoping for. You know, we really want people to know, but we've heard loud and clear. They're saying over and over again, we want more quests. We want more quests. And that's when I started off my presentation, I didn't go straight into Dragon Slayer 2. I actually first off spoke about the other few quests that we've got in the works, and I know there's a few more lined up we haven't even started talking about yet. We are definitely doing more quests. It's absolutely 100% a priority for us. And obviously Dragon Slayer 2 is the big one. And yep, the blog is now out. Go have a read. And
some final changes were made just before the Q&A, well, before we started here.
We after the first set of changes, everyone was pretty much happy. They were just saying, can we have some stats for the mythical capes? So we've now gone in and added one last question, extra question. on if people wanted to have some stats. So yeah, go give that a read. And we've got the poll going live tomorrow afternoon, UK time.
As well as a art stream.
Yes, and we've got the design stream as well. So Mod West is going to be sacrificing 5 hours of his time to sit with you guys. So, you know, be nice to him.
So that's going to be 12 p.m. UTC until 5 p.m. UTC, which is like 1 till 6 UK time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and we'll be doing probably, while you're designing that, probably doing a little bit of a Q&A type thing as well, so people can ask their questions about the quest and rewards and stuff, and we'll be answering them. And obviously the poll will be going live at the same time, so people will be able to head in game, vote on the poll, but if they want a bit more information, that stream will be the chance for them to come and find out any last details they want before voting. So I imagine probably what I'll do is after this Q&A, I'll probably put a Reddit thread up or something like that to gather some questions for that, and then obviously tweet them at me as well.
All
Yeah,
right, sounds good.
that's Dragon Slayer 2.
We missed one thing with the wilderness, actually. We missed the altar.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to cover it? Or
Yeah,
shall I?
so it's what, 38 wilderness?
Yeah, level 38 wilderness. So it's an existing prayer altar.
Yeah. So essentially it's multi at this altar, and what we're going to allow you to do is actually, there's going to be an NPC that you can unnote bones and use the bones on the altar for new best XP per hour with prayer. Thing is, you're like 40 wilderness in multi. So while it seems, wow, that's OP, that's crazy, you're actually probably going to die all the time. And it's going to be a very active and fun PK spot. But yeah, that is like, I believe they have this in RuneScape, in the other game.
I'm not sure, man.
I think that's where the other game, the idea came from. Maybe just somebody on the other team thought of the idea, but yeah.
I think they do have something similar, but again, I'm no longer an expert on RuneScape 3.
Beauty is if you head there and you find a PK or hop to a different world, unless you die. But
cool.
Yeah, I like that idea.
One last thing from the reveals before we move on, I guess. So this is what we didn't reveal, and I said, I promised I'd talk about Group Ironman. Like straight after, because I was like, where is it? We revealed or pitched whatever content we know we can deliver next year.
Yeah.
Group Ironman requires engine work. That might happen, it might not. So we didn't pitch it. We want to do Group Ironman within the team. First of all, I think it's going to like produce amazing content. You guys can have great fun with your friends. Secondly, you'll make a new account and you use bonds on them. So from a business sense, it makes perfect sense for us to do. So it's not that we don't want to do it. It's just that the content team, and then like supporting me and CM and then the art team as well, we can't be sure that we can deliver it, so we didn't pitch it.
Yeah, we don't want to promise you guys
really
anything that we don't know 100% we can't do.
I'm 100% behind it.
Yeah,
like doing it.
We all are.
We don't know if we can.
I think it's important to remember that we announced pretty much 4 updates on stage at RuneFest.
Sell out.
And we do an update pretty much every week.
Yeah.
So that's all the other weeks of the year that we haven't talked about yet. There will be more things come out next year. We just haven't talked about them yet. We only want to talk about the things that we're pretty confident we can deliver. Like at the end of the day, we could stand on stage and do an awesome presentation, but if we're never actually going to make it, then what's the point?
Very true.
Exactly.
We could have easily listed off like our top 20 ideas, and you would have all been like, "Oh my God, these are incredible!" But we need to be realistic here.
Yeah, so we had the same thing. So RuneFest 2016, right? We pitched Making Friends with My Arm.
Making Friends with My Arm, and
Yeah.
it's one of the first things we've pitched at RuneFest, which we haven't done, and we still are planning to do it. But we do ideally would like to do everything. We announce at one RuneFest before we get to the next one, and yeah, that one has fallen back a bit. Which is why stuff like that is why we always prefer to we don't want to promise too much that we can't deliver. But yeah, Making Friends of My Arm is still in the works. It's planned for next year.
Right.
So a few shouts for clan system. Just worth noting actually that the engine work we need for Group Ironman is I believe a prerequisite to get the clan engine work done. So.
And I wanted to do PvP arena as well, but that's also engine. So maybe one day. But anyways. Believe it or not, we've actually tackled like several of my questions just in this talking, which has been nice. I don't know if you guys prefer when we just get through as many questions as possible, or if you prefer more casual kind of podcasty style chat. But hopefully this has been okay so far.
Sorry, can I just go on for a second? Engine, right? A lot of people are now jumping on the meme that engine work blocks everything, but like, look. Engine are currently working on mobile. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that ever comes to old school. it's going to be fantastic. A load of people managed to try it at RuneFest because we had it demoed there.
Yeah.
People loved it. It went down so well from what we saw. We got a load of positive feedback, a load of useful feedback to work on as well when it comes to us installing all the different gestures and that sort of thing. And going forward, what we want to do is make sure that we've got the right roadmap set out for our engine. We're going to sit down, frankly, as a whole company, not just old school, because RuneScape needs work from that engine team as well. And there's a whole host of different needs for different parts of the business. All of us will get together, we'll sit and prioritize what we need. We pretty much know, you guys know what we want, and that's where we're going to be going.
Yeah, a lot of people...
The only thing is, we just can't promise when, but the engine team are doing fantastic work and we're going to get there.
A lot of people act like engine don't give us anything, which is absolutely not true. We get so much from the engine team. But like everything, they can't do it all at once. They have to prioritize things. And right now, the priority is mobile. And pretty much everyone seems to be on board that mobile is something that they want and something that we should be doing. So
yeah,
it makes sense.
And if you missed it, I did a quick stream hosting RuneFest with Ian and Elliot while they were trying mobile. And it was so remarkably smooth. I actually personally haven't seen it in ages. And the difference... Like the UI was nicer. It was so quick and responsive. They were prayer flicking. They were prayer flicking. There was like no delay. It was like 50 or 60 frames per second. It looked like just beautiful.
I've been waiting for the chance to try Jed on it. I need to do Jed on it.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Just one.
I can't honestly, you guys, I thought personally it was just going to be like AFK-able skills, whatever, but you're going to be able to do so much on a phone.
I was sat
looking forward to it.
doing agility. I did agility laps for an hour.
Can we get on our phones?
We can get on our phones. We've got the internal build, yeah.
Ooh.
So I was trying, just playing.
I'll take that right after this, thank you.
So good.
We're going to get a quick straw poll in the chat because I asked you guys a question and the response was difficult to judge, and I'm curious. So, Madaiza, if you can load up a straw poll, we're going to ask you which style of Q&A you prefer. Either the get through as many questions as humanly possible, or the more relaxed podcast style. And maybe a third option for a mix between the both.
Keep in mind, this isn't going to interfere with my plans to do a podcast, which isn't going to be like a relaxed podcast. It's going to be more to tackle like specific meaty subjects. So keep that in mind when you vote on this coming to a bill.
Okay. Anyways, as I mentioned, the reason why we're doing a bit more of a relaxed kind of podcasty style of Q&A today is because we've been at a meeting all day and we haven't had any time to gather questions from you guys. But we do have some in the chat, and I have actually got some on here. So let's get through some more of these. Robert says, when you reach the XP cap in Deadman, can we still have the ability to see XP drops?
I answered this on Twitter actually the other day, but you can, but it's not a very easy content job to go and do. No, it's not engine. Okay. But the way it works currently is there's a bit of client script that's sat there just waiting to see your stat change. As soon as it sees your attack stat go from 10 XP to 50 XP, oh, it's changed. Here's a 40 XP drop. What's the difference between the two values? Essentially, That's how it does it. So for us to do it without your stat changing, we have to provide a coded way to do it with a fake value, essentially. Also, we probably need to indicate on the XP drop that it's a fake value, so that it doesn't look like you're actually getting XP when you're not, that sort of thing. But it's a small to medium job, really. It's not something to just go and quickly do.
That's
but exactly. I think there's value in doing it.
Yeah. This is exactly the result I was hoping for. Which style of Q&A do you prefer? 45% say a mix of both. 31% say casual / podcasty, and 23% only say more questions. So that's really nice. I think, earlier on when we were hosting the Q&A streams in the very beginning, there were so many questions to get through because, there's hundreds or thousands. And now that we've answered like every question you can possibly imagine and then some, we're starting to kind of value the more discussional stuff, I think. But anyways.
Sorry, I just saw a guy say we don't interact with the chat at all. I think that's like...
Okay.
Sometimes we pander too much. I don't know. Okay.
Well,
you're entitled to your opinion, my friend.
Yeah, ban him.
Sorry, someone just asked in the chat as well, an update on the podcast. Well, now that we have a second CM in Modaiza and RuneFest and Fossil Island stuff is done, we had like a big spree of competitive gaming that's come to... we've got a bit of respite. Now I can do my podcast. So soon.
Hey. Very nice.
Soon TM.
Soon TM, yeah.
Who are you looking to have on these podcasts? Is it like
Anybody
like 2
who
people
wants
or?
to be on. And,
I'll be on a podcast.
Okay, cool.
New special guest each week.
Yeah, speaking of events, actually, we are going to be at TwitchCon if you guys are going to be there. We'll have a few J mods there. I think we'll have myself, the 2CM guys, and Mod Stone. So I think we might be hosting a panel there. I'm looking forward to that. But of course, looking forward to meeting all of you guys there. We met so many people at RuneFest this year. I think it's completely blown up. Like last year, it was like we were walking through, maybe like once or twice recognized on the way to the stage. Yeah. But now it's like, I never saw people like Ash, Wooks, a friend, non-stop crowds of people around them. It's, you know, typical celebrity lifestyle. It is what it is.
It's pretty crazy. Like I feel like RuneFest has got a lot of attention this year. It's just such a unique event.
All right, next question. Iron Patty says, can you let us insert the coal from coal bag directly into the blast furnace in one step with other ores?
I think it'd be possible. Yeah, can't see any issues with that.
Cool.
People don't want it though.
They don't.
But it's possible, that's all I'm saying.
Well, we don't interact with the chat, so we don't see any of those.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Let's make this happen.
Go straight ahead, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Yep.
All right, we're going to lean on the chat for a bit here. 792 says, can you make reanimating heads comfier by either one...
Comfier.
I say comfier. Comfier by either 1, auto-selecting the specific head in the inventory, or 2, take the top one even if you click on the bottom head, or 3, allow us to right-click head to reanimate. How is that comfier?
I'm sort of working on a
Whatever.
design with that spell book. So
Ooh.
could address it with a...
Ooh.
Yeah, you can see it on the next tab.
I love these, like...
Can we get an ooh in the chat?
all these
It's
hidden
actually worth
secret
mentioning,
projects.
though. I mean, obviously you have to have the head for that spell. Maybe it doesn't even need to like be clicked on.
Well,
the head afterwards.
the way I've got it so far means it. Well, it'll be different.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll leave it to that at the moment.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, I would say more about the design, but I want to obviously run it by everyone else first.
I really like that second chat question.
That's from Armageddon Fish.
Yeah.
You should make a coffee bean tree that you can add the beans to energy potions to make them more effective. That's a good idea.
Love coffee, man. But you should get some sort of burnout as well. Like 3 hours later, you're not moving.
Energy drinks.
How are coffee beans grown?
I don't know, mate.
Can't say I've ever tried it.
It's not a tree, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe it is. I think it is.
It is. I don't know anything.
Let's just add coffee as like an import from far exotic land. I don't know. Then we don't have to bother with the semantics.
And is there even coffee in RuneScape at all?
No, just
No.
tea.
We've got tea though.
Crazy.
It's a bean.
Shows how British we are.
It's a bush.
It's a bush.
Wow. We're
Plant,
so...
bush.
So
Yeah,
basically,
whatever.
whoever made the suggestion, you invented something that doesn't exist.
Okay.
Red Bull sponsored item.
Minnie says, can the fishing outfit be gained using points earned by doing trips rather than pure RNG?
RNG's a pretty big thing in our game. I think you're probably going to have to accept that sometimes you have to have RNG rather than just everything being on points.
Yeah.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
But that's mostly no anyway.
Novici, I'm going to say his name wrong. Novici?
Novici.
Any updates on the Gargoyle boss? Oh, that's another one on here too.
Right.
We've got a design stream next week.
Yep.
With Mod Ghost.
Another
Yeah,
design
with
stream.
Mongo.
Yeah, another design stream next week. I assume it's going to be the same date, same time. So 12 UTC on Thursday.
Yeah, you might want to do it Wednesday.
I think he was thinking about doing it on a Wednesday actually.
Wednesday.
We'll have
Yeah,
confirmation
yeah,
in the
yeah.
next few days.
Cool. All right. So I'm wrong. Wednesday before the stream. Before this stream. Next week.
As a rule of thumb, we generally do it before the Q&A. It's just today, so we couldn't do it today.
Dev work's kicking off. Now that RuneFest is out of the way, I can really concentrate on that. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. Also,
work and get it as soon as possible.
Congrats on the nomination for the Golden Gnome to
We
Novici.
spelled his name wrong, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was. It wasn't me.
That was Modi's fault. He just said so.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
It was only in the news post.
Only
Fire
in the news
Modizer
post.
again.
Nobody reads those anyway, so it's fine. Yeah.
Let's read the Dragon Slayer one.
Okay. Next question then. Pelly says, when will the make all option be implemented into all old school skilling features?
So we've got tomorrow's news post. So please read it. that's going to offer like a bit of a sneak peek into the May Call feature, and we're looking at getting it soon, like very soon.
Yeah,
not so soon. It's going to be tomorrow.
The development's been pretty much done, so now it's just awaiting QA. Obviously, it's no small job. I mean, like, I think it's only. You don't really realise how many places MakeX is used until you actually start looking through. There are so many places that it's had to be plugged into. So it's quite a big QA job, but it's getting there now.
Huge
so
job,
it's not far off
QA
now.
job.
Yeah.
But it's going to be worth it.
Like, yeah, it should definitely be worth it.
One of the best things is it's a massive code maintenance job. As exciting as that is, Ash has managed to being able to tidy up.
It's pretty boring. It's pretty boring for those guys, but the idea that Ash has tied up all this code is really nice for us. It's going to make things so much nicer in the future when it comes to plugging in those places.
Would you say you're so excited that you want to dab?
Not quite. Not quite,
chat. Work harder. Come on, guys. I like this one from Tawny, who says, can the Dragon Plate Body have Dragon Slayer 2 as a requirement to wear it?
So that is in as a separate poll question, like people are asking for it. So if you want it, vote yes to that question.
Okay.
I think for this poll, we've taken a lot of feedback. Sometimes we don't expand too much on the poll questions, stuff like that. This time we've been super comprehensive.
Yeah, and one thing people have been saying with all the polls, and people have always said, stop combining questions, like do them all separately. And this time we've done exactly that. We've literally separated out as much as possible. So there's a lot more questions, and it could potentially be a bit more confusing, but it's kind of a bit of an experiment. You asked for us to break it down, so we've broken it down. So do let us know what you think about this style of polling as well as the actual content itself.
Okay. Framed says, when does the 6-hour protection come into the new season?
Saturday.
This Saturday. At any specific time?
It'll happen at the reset time.
1 a.m. and
1
UK
a.m.
time.
Wow, 1 a.m.
1 a.m. UK time.
If it isn't clarified in the news post, I'll do that before I leave today.
Okay, so if you haven't started on the Deadman winter season and you're looking forward to hopefully getting a start, you want to start this Saturday. You do not want to miss that. You're going to have 6 hours of immunity. You're going to be able to basically just run around Deadman untouchable and do everything you want.
I've got to say,
a little chance
great
to
head start. Yeah,
I've got to say, amidst all the autumn final on Saturday controversy, lots of overwhelming good feedback for how we've tackled the cap and quest releases for this season.
Mm-hmm.
So bear that in mind. Maybe jump on Twitch, see if it is your cup of tea, and if you like it, play. Yeah. Play now.
Buy bonds.
Get bonds.
That's a nice cup of tea.
All right. Jerry says, can you pull the Bounty Hunter key suggestion? So this was, for those wondering, essentially how this would have worked is once you're in Bounty Hunter, you can kill your target, and instead of having to sit there and loot and potentially not having enough inventory to pick up his stuff, or maybe you're getting attacked by another person, you want to get out of there quickly, you'll just get a key. That will contain all of the loot that he would have dropped. You could then run to the bank in Edgeville, find a chest, and there you'd find his loot. So it's as easy as that. It's basically just Deadman keys, but for the stuff that he dropped. Really like this idea. The problem is we've already got so much, especially for PvP, lined up in the coming months. I'd probably put this towards the bottom of the list when you compare it with things like, well, if you count Rev Caves as a PvP thing and things like that. I really like this idea, though. It's definitely on the list. But we don't want to spam you guys with 100 PvP updates because we respect that many of our players don't care for it. And the devs can only spend so much time on it at a given time. Same goes for PvP Arena, pretty much same story. And PvP Pet, this was an idea that came up if you missed the streamer Q&A that was streamed at RuneFest, actually. Somebody asked for a pet to come from Bounty Hunter. And I'm just going to say, PVM has pets, Skilling has pets. We're missing out one category of players that gets no pets.
What would it be, like some sort of ghost or something? I
honestly have no idea what it would be.
I'm not too on board with the idea, but if I had to be, sell it to me with a good idea for a pet.
I don't have it. Okay. I don't have it yet, so it's not happening.
I can't imagine pet hunters being
guys,
mostly PVM.
PvPers in the chat, you got to work with me here. You got to give me a really sick suggestion on a black background with yellow text, a cool image, and we have to convince these non-PvPers.
What about a skeleton wearing some pure gear or something? I don't know.
It could just be like a posty Pete, like a skull.
I don't know what, man. Maybe like a mini death, the guy with the scythe.
Yeah. So a mini death Grim Reaper with like
We'll think
some
about it.
Discworld references or something. That'd be pretty cool.
On the topic of pets, it's been a while since we did another sculling pet as well. Like, I know we did a
We
lot
just
of
did the herbivore thing.
That's true. No, that's true. You're right.
You were about to pitch one.
Another one.
A lot of the ones we haven't done, of the Bibles, and I know people.
Well, we had a look through
feeling
recently,
it more.
and the skills that are left, they're pretty much all buyable in some way. And
Slayer.
people have said loud and clear, we don't want buyable pets. And that's why we've started doing things like, first for Phoenix with Windstod and then the Herbivore, of introducing pets that are kind of skilling pets, but kind of not.
I think we should tone down on the amount of pets.
You said Slayer. What would you do? Like a
Slayer needs a pet.
little baby.
It's a non-viable skill that still doesn't have a proper skill pet.
A little baby orphan Neve.
Most of the Slayer requirement bosses that require Slayer level, basically Slayer.
Yeah, because
That's true.
arguably
No,
those are
I
Slayer
know they've got
pets.
the most.
So
They got Kraken and Hellhound, and they got plenty.
Yeah. Pet though.
I just don't want to get to the point where I go to the GE and all I can see is pets everywhere, and I'm just like, I don't have any pets because all I do is PK and we don't get freaking pets.
we'd get people sometimes saying, stop adding pets, and well, there's something else with just for Dragon Slayer 2 devlog. We're polling this pet.
Yep.
I'm going to recreate that Ed moment from the presentation. Spoilers. Neve is dead.
Actually, it was spoiler alert.
I've just read that apparently.
Come
I
on,
want
get it right.
I don't recall that.
Come on, what are you playing at?
It says dead content, go over it.
I did say that.
Right, next question then. Forrest says, with Mage Arena 2, it was said that you'll have to kill bosses in the wilderness. What are we talking about here? Are hardcore Ironman expected not to get this one?
Hardcore
Yes.
Ironman can go into the wilderness.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, exactly.
We saw a friend's video.
Yeah.
They can.
You just got to find yourself a really nice group of friends who will help protect you.
No, Ironman stand alone.
By the way.
Someone clip that.
Ironman, by the way.
I don't want to like restrict this sort of stuff
Yeah.
to make it easy for Ironman to do. If you do it, that's so like you'd be one of very few hardcore Ironmen with that cape. That'd be amazing, right? Like,
Definitely. Dude, the day of release, so many hardcore Ironmen are going to die.
yeah.
Wow.
Thankfully.
What about other tournaments besides Deadman? So we've got Deadman. We did the PvP championship. I'd love to be able to do another one of those. I've said that the next one that I'd like to do is actually going to be a bit more fun using some of your favorite content creators. So basically something that we'll actually have time to be able to organize. Probably the top 16 content creators, maybe 32 if we have space for it. We want to limit it down to 1 day instead of 2 days. And it's not going to be like a competition with like $10,000 to give away or anything. It's just going to be some fun with like maybe Sick Nerd versus Torvesta, etc. Really just a for fun thing that we'll throw on as an event at some point in 2018 as soon as I have time to organize it, really.
I'm going to be pitching next week to the team. So this might not happen, so it's probably not worth talking about.
I think it will.
Sorry in the chat anyway. Nelly's Lethal was asking about like a follow-up kind of clan-based tournament. I'm going to be pitching a 10v10 regular weekly warring league with prizes on the line and stuff. But I need to. The team needs to be on board with it first. But I've got like a lot of the mechanics worked out. So hopefully.
As someone who's seen it, it's amazing. I think they're gonna love it.
Thanks, man.
And then yeah, as for next RuneFest, I'd also like to potentially see if it's worth considering something like a PvP championship, or excuse me, a LAN where we have people head to head, like 1v1ing on stage. As a Deadman with RuneFest is so difficult to do with everything else surrounding it. But anyways, as I mentioned, the next thing coming up is really TwitchCon for us, which we're not doing an event such as like a tournament, but we will be there, so you can look forward to meeting us there. Requirements for Dragon Slayer 2?
No.
Dragon Slayer 1.
You'll get the requirements if you vote yes in the poll.
Oh.
Remember, I didn't say when, but if you vote yes in the poll, we will tell you the requirements at some point.
So we said it's going to be the highest requirements yet.
It's a Grandmaster quest.
Yeah.
It's not going to be 99s across the board, you know.
No, when we say highest requirements yet, we're not going to just throw in loads of 99s. Like, look at our other Grandmaster quests. Look at Monkey Madness 2 and think around that, but a little bit higher. We don't want to have a huge jump up. We want to slowly up the requirements.
20 pets and
All pets.
and the Cape of Champions, the Champions Cape.
Speaking of Dragon Slayer 2, we have an image for the Myths Guild, I do believe. The cape to come with it, sorry.
Well, this was suggested on Reddit.
Yeah, this was a
suggested,
player made image. There you can see the signature if you can read that. But what do you guys think of this cape?
I really like it. I know some people were saying it looks maybe a bit too close to the Max
Legends
cape.
Oh, really?
And also the bottoms looks a bit like the Legends cape. I don't really see the Legends cape in there.
It looks like he took a Legends cape and then drew some stuff over it. But I like the design.
I love that. I think that's really
It looks
cool.
really nice.
I love the little dragon on the back. It really
For
brings
me,
it together.
it kind of really harks back to the guys, the guards, I guess, who stand outside the Legends Guild in that really nice, like pale blue mauve armor. That's what I think of when I see that.
It's like the newbie tier 2 Castle's armor.
Yeah.
One thing we did briefly talk about was maybe having some more play suggestions, like maybe do a little competition or something for the cape. Obviously, none of it's confirmed yet, but just ideas have been throwing around. Obviously, we have to wait and see if it passes first, but potentially doing something like that, get some more player suggestions in and have a little competition between them, see which cape wins.
Definitely. We have so much stuff to potentially come from the community with these updates. As we mentioned with Raids 2, we want to lean on you guys for some ideas for rewards. We're looking for 3 new weapons to come with that. In my original pitch, I had some ideas for spells, but I was having a hard time figuring out where they could come from. So we were looking at potentially a staff that could cast a couple different spells, but I didn't want it to seem like it was anything like Staff of Armadillo, so I was like, yeah, maybe not. But as for those spells, one of them, for example, I mentioned was like a chained lightning spell. So you cast it on an NPC in front of you, and it might, chain diagonally to the guy next to him, and so forth. There's a few different ideas there, but realistically, yeah, we want to work with the community to make something incredible to come from this stuff. So
I've got a design for a melee weapon that I've modelled as well, so I can show that to the players at some point.
Maybe we can show that tomorrow.
I love the idea that came up on Reddit of like that scythe.
yeah, I did like that one.
Scythe sort of
Reaper
thing.
scythe or whatever it was. Yeah, that looked really cool.
Really like the look of that, and I really like the idea of doing a scythe for a melee weapon if we did one melee weapon as well.
Honestly, guys, don't sweat it. Like I said, that idea was scrapped. So like people are like, oh my god, that's a horrible idea. It's okay. If you have a great idea, by all means, please do let us know, and maybe we'll bring it up next Q&A. Ryan says, can we start to get the key for Grotesque Guardian room before the boss actually comes out, like we did with Totems and Scotizo?
I wasn't too keen on the way we did that initially with Scotizo.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't like to do it, personally.
I completely agree.
One of the things it does is it sort of lowers the mammoth heavy traffic to Gargoyle bots instantaneously on release.
That's the
sure,
fun
that'll be
thing.
at Gargoyles, but there's a bunch of Gargoyles around the world.
That's the
rather
fun
than all
though,
at that
is
one.
now it's like you never know who's going to be the first one to do it, whereas with Scotizo...
I think it's
just gonna do it
exciting that
immediately.
after a launch you can't just go straight to the content. You got to get the key first, and then a lot of people are racing to get there.
It'd be like, well, obviously not quite as extreme, but with the Hill Giant boss.
And after a few days, it'll be empty enough that it's not going to be too much of an issue. I do appreciate that Gargoyles are pretty packed.
Yeah, it's true.
Most of the time. So.
What decides the order of the big announcement updates to come that were announced in RuneFest? So when are they coming throughout the year? What's first?
Dragon Slayer 2 is the next one up.
Yeah, we are. Well, the blog's out right now, and the poll is going up tomorrow. So again, make sure you hop in game and vote when that goes up.
As far as what's second and third and fourth, I'm not really sure. I suppose it depends on the dev team and the scale of the tasks.
I saw a lot of people saying, oh, this can't possibly all come in next year, but we're actually quite confident we can do it and more.
Yeah.
It's all scheduled out, so as long as nothing goes wrong, like I'm talking like personal instances like illness or something, it should all come to fruition.
Look what we did in 2017, right? Raids, Hardcore Ironman, World Map was massive. Like, there's some big stuff.
We are prolific.
Where he says, any plans on buffing the leaf-bladed battle axe to be better than the original sword? It's really not... People are going to hate me for saying this. It's not horrible.
Someone crunched numbers, and I mean, there's not a lot in it, but I understand because obviously there is an equipment gap. Like, you need high levels for
Yeah,
it.
they're pretty close.
It's
but
just
that
the
one has
comparison with the sword.
higher requirements, so it just makes sense for it to have a bit more of a buff than what it currently has.
You know, like...
I think it could do with being better, to be honest.
It's a bit slower than a whip, but it's stronger. I think it's less accurate as well. But for the price that it's at right now, it's a bargain. That is a good item for the price it's at right now. But yeah, the sword is better, so does it have to be better than the sword is the question, I suppose.
It should be. That was the intention, right? It's that it's going to be a weapon that allows you to do 2 Rasks and Kurasks with a bit of a higher tier weapon than a rubbish leaf-bladed weapon.
Yeah.
And Kurasks are already they're like decent task, right?
Yeah. Well, for money.
Yeah.
Requirements for raids 2. This comes down to more QA and I think Kieran than me. I would have said obviously like raids 1 and then some, probably. I'd say, you know, it has to be obviously incredibly difficult, but I wouldn't say like you have to be maxed.
I imagine it'll be very similar to the Inferno. There probably won't be a huge amount of requirements to get in, but then inside, who knows?
As we know with this stuff and testing with the Inferno, as I mentioned, if you missed it at RuneFest, we had some of your favorite content creators over to the office, the guys who are able to devote their time in playing this game that we kind of aren't. I see Foe in the chat right now. That's Fuse, I have bad reading, sorry. Bad eyes, rather. Anyways, these guys could not complete the Inferno. They couldn't stand a chance, and they were saying some of them were saying, I don't even know if it's doable. Or if it is, it's going to take ages, and you need at least the Twisted Bow and the Elysian and this and that. And now you got Whoops doing it with really budget gear, potentially somebody with 45 defense. Just goes to show that you can kind of try to make this stuff as difficult as you possibly can, but I think you guys will find a way. So I would like to make it very difficult, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think we said we would talk about this. We probably are going to look at getting another player visit in. That's going to be cool.
Yes.
I did like what you just said there, which was raids 1. So maybe like a kill count requirement for Chambers of Zarek to then be invited to go and attend the second raids. I don't know.
I was going to say, actually, this was, again, in the initial pitch when I brought this to the team. Raids 2 in the Theater of Blood, I would like to say we're going to be inviting some of the best PVMers in the game to the office to come help us test it. One of those players will be Wooks. So that's kind of a big deal, isn't it?
Assuming he wants to.
If he helps us make something incredible, I think the chat's probably going to be upset because I don't know.
There he is. Whoops is in the chat. He's listening.
Hey, Whoops.
I don't know if they're going to be able to do it now. They're going to be like, Whoops, don't make it too hard, please.
So I don't think we're going to sit there and make raids 2 like as hard as the Inferno, obviously, because it's not meant to be that absurd challenge you do once, so you're pretty much happy with it. So I hope we can give it.
Zach Braddis as well is a good shout.
In terms of skills, I expect it'll use less skills than Chambers of Zarek because we're putting more of the emphasis on the actual combat this time.
Yeah. We're looking for difficult mechanics that's going to require, honestly, one of the most difficult things is going to be teamwork. You need to be able to, it's going to be difficult if you're not in voice comms with your team, to be completely honest with you.
But don't join TeamSpeak servers. Use Discord or something like that.
Yes. Like, you got to be able to communicate and saying, like, okay, I'm going to do this thing at this point right now, and then you need to go and do this thing. And it's a lot of talking to your teammates. It's not just so much like, I'm just going to wander off, do my own thing. These guys will do their own thing, and then we'll eventually progress. You need to work with your team as a team.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Don't forget that, guys.
The one thing I hope is that we'll have the final boss will be harder than all. Like, we'll give them something a bit more beefy than that.
Yeah. Ooh. Cool. I'm so hyped for raids 2.
you got a little well got away from that one.
All right. Another question from the chat here. Pan says, would it be possible to make the Soul Bearer have the same left-click option as the Gem Bag and Herb Sack, having all 3 in your inventory? It feels weird to have to click the head and bearer, unlike the Gem Bag and Herb Sack.
So just consistency with options?
Some yes pleases in the chat.
We can have a look at it. I forget exactly how it works. I've not used it really myself, but we can have a look.
Okay. With the release of Fossil Island, is there anything more you're looking into add to it or change to it?
There's a bunch of volcanic mine changes going out tomorrow to address some of the feedback we've had over the past 2 weeks, including some new additions to the store. So not only have the prices come down even further for all the ores in there to give you a bit more reward for your time and efforts, because I think we underestimated a little bit about how much supplies people will be using to take it on, but there's some uniques there. Well, firstly, there's a larger water container unlock, so you'll be able to go in there with twice as much water, which should help you in there as a one-time purchase. Then there's another one-time purchase to unlock an upgrade to the Fertile Soil spell. So you unlock this book.
What else?
See,
You do it to yourself now.
well, it's not my fault this time, right? I actually had a book to talk about.
Hang on, can you say
Right, I'm
book
changing
like
it to a
book?
scroll.
Oh.
Sorry.
You know what? Actually, I can respect it as a Canadian living in the UK. You know what? Stay true to your.
Book is how it's said.
The way you
Sorry.
say things.
It's double O. You don't say ook as a monkey, do you? You say ook. So book. You put a B in front of it. It's book.
Right?
You're not wrong.
Right? Exactly. So
You're not wrong.
I'm glad everyone agrees. Now, you got this. There's a new book. When you read it, you unlock the upgrade to the Fertile Soul spell. It's not a new spell, however. So it uses the existing Fertile Soul spell, but to cast it with Ultra Compost, you need to use 2 Volcanic Ash with it. Now, those Volcanic Ash are tradable and stackable, so you can take them with you. There was other things that were added that can be combined with Super Compost to make Ultra Compost. So it fits, and we're still using those items that we wanted to use. And yeah, that's basically it. Simple as that. You take Volcanic Ash with you and you'll be able to use Ultra instead of normal.
Fair enough.
Sounds good to me.
We're running out of time quickly for the Q&A. Actually, we're 1 minute over. Do you guys want to give a quick recap of what's happening tomorrow with your stream? When's it happening? What is it?
So the time is
Okay,
Dude, it's your stream.
time zones.
It begins at 12 p.m. UTC, which is 1 p.m. BST.
There we go.
And then it ends at 5 p.m. UTC, which is 6 p.m. BST.
Yeah, we're going to be
Google Stream
timing
Zones.
And
You know
what
what?
is
And I'll be
and
designing,
what is the design stream?
I'll be working on the Myths Guild.
Ooh,
So-
exciting
stuff.
stuff. Yeah, so Mod West is going to be working on the Mist Guild, and then you'll have myself and a couple of other J mods hopping in and out as the stream goes on to answer any questions you guys have on Dragon Slayer 2.
Heck yeah.
Again, I'll be putting up a post on Reddit after this to start gathering some questions.
Obviously, we're not going to be answering spoilers.
Yeah, obviously we're not planning on spoiling the quest, so be more stuff like
Do you
see a
dragon?
clarification on like the rewards and stuff like that.
DMM statement, people spamming in the chat, exclamation point review.
Exclamation point review or exclamation point Deadman or something like that, right? Or go to the news post on the old school website, or watch this again from the start.
Yeah, do that one.
Multiple
That'll be
options,
quicker.
my friends.
Guys, so we're gonna start hosting some streamers we think deserve some love at the end of these streams. We're gonna start working with those guys to help send some of you guys over, check out their content if we think it's deserving. So please do stick around, and we're gonna give a host if possible. Mairaiza, can you host Rakesiones right now? He was one of the people in the Deadman mentions that we invited over. Makes some really fantastic Deadman content. If you enjoyed Deadman. He's only got 150 viewers right now, so I'd love to see you guys in his chat, showing him some love. He's a great guy. Say again?
He was a big dude. Yeah. Big dude.
I was watching him and Sickner burn butter as they tried to make eggs. We're good? All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Ooh, like that.